Hey, good afternoon. My name's Chris Gunn, and once again, this is my channel, Chris Gunn's Bourbon Barrel Creations. So, what I want to talk about today is kind of twofold. One, I want to talk about this category that I kind of put some bourbons in, and then I want to talk about what my wife bought me for our wedding anniversary for this year that fits in that category. So, I tried to make this video one time before, about a week ago. I've had this ball in my hand for about a week now, and we got a new dog. She's a rescue dog. She's a little, she's a Dachshund Chihuahua, and we believe she's got some anxiety issues. And when I went back and reviewed the video, I could hear her barking up a storm downstairs, and I just said, you know what? For what I'm going to talk about right now, I want this video to be as near as perfect as I can personally get it. Now, what category am I talking about? Everybody has these allocated unicorns that they're after. And I'm the same person. You know, for years and years, I was religiously hunting a Heaven Hill 17-year heritage collection. I talk about this in a previous video, but they had 3 of them on base and they went like wildfire. And so I had tried a sample. There's a store here in Columbus, Georgia called Maple Party Shop. The guy that owns it, somebody gave him a sample, and I was in his office talking to him one day, and he says, "You want to try it?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do, please." And up to that point, up until about a week ago, I would have told you that was the best thing I ever drank in my life. Now, about a week ago, though, on the channel that I co-host, Oak and Agave, Prentice got his hands on some Blade and Bow 30-year. And good Lord, that was on a whole nother level. So unfortunately, it kind of knocked Heaven Hill 17 off the pedestal of the best thing I ever drank before. Now, allocated unicorns. You know, some people are going to say that's the top tier of what you go after. I believe there's another tier. And, you know, this is just an invention of my own, but I call this tier unattainable unicorns or unattainable unicorns. I think the unattainable word, my wife keeps telling me that's not a real word, quit using it, but we'll just say it's unattainable unicorns. These are bottles that you know about. You know they're out there, but you know that you've got about a snowball's chance and you know where to ever get one. For me, there was one bottle in particular that had always been at the top of my list. I had always wanted this bottle. I knew that if I got it, I was going to have to pay a high secondary price to get it. And I was kind of like, is it worth this much money? Now, I've heard other YouTubers say that they own it, and if their house ever caught fire, that'd be the one bottle they'd grab when they grab their kids and run out of the house. So I knew that, you know, more than likely the distillate in the bottle was going to match probably all expectations. So I had gotten in my mind about a year ago. Me and my brother went to the Kentucky Bourbon Festival, and I'd been saving a lot of money. I was building stuff with my business, and when people were paying me, I was just squirreling the money away, and I'd put a certain amount of the squirreled away money to the side, and it was to go after this bottle. There's a place up in Louisville called Neat. It is it's like a bar on one side, and on the other side is a store. And inside the store, they have very old, dusty, rare bottles that you have the potential to buy. And I've watched a couple of videos of people that have filmed in there, and it's just like, wow. And in particular, one of the videos, it was like, oh, wait, got to rewind. And I was like, honey, you see that? You know what that is? And what's that? And I'm like, that's it. That's the unattainable unicorn that I want. So what is this bottle? It was a week ago. Me and my wife were sitting downstairs talking, and she just kind of mentioned, because we had planned on Valentine's Day, which is our anniversary. It was going to be our 28th wedding anniversary, that we were going to meet friends in West Alabama, and then we were going to go to Crittenden's distillery for an event he was having on Valentine's Day. And I'll be releasing a video on my thoughts on that and how good a time we had down there. But I think she just decided to go in and give me my gift. And so she hands me, my wife's always good about it. She wraps everything in really nice wrapping. And You know, I'm a guy. It's like here's an Amazon box. Open it, and you got something in there. But for her, it's the presentation. And so she gives me this thing, and I was pretty sure it's probably a bottle of bourbon because she knows me and she knows what I like. And so I reach in the bag and I grab this thing and I'm feeling it, and it's like, okay, it's something in a cylinder, and I'm thinking, what do I know that's in a cylinder? E.H. Taylor. And then I go, wait a minute. I had mentioned we had been to a guy's house for a surprise birthday party, and he had a King of Kentucky on his shelf, and I showed it to Teresa and go, that's kind of one of the bottles I'd love to have, but I just know the secondary value on those things is through the roof right now. And so, but I'm feeling it, and I'm like thinking to myself, man, did she break down and buy me a King of Kentucky? Because she has this weird, I don't know how she does it, but when she wants to find something, she's a bird dog. She'll find it. And as an example, I've talked about this before. One of my most valuable bottles of bourbon is my Wild Turkey Master's Keep 1894, which she found, which was a New Zealand only. It was only distributed to overseas. But anyway, so I'm filling this cylinder, and I'm thinking this might be a King of Kentucky. And so I take the wrapper and I kind of rip just really the top off of it, and I happen to look down and I see something gold, and I go, oh my God, can this be what I think I've got? So what did I have? It was this. Let me turn it so you can see it. Okay, for people who know what this is, if you don't know what this is, this was produced from about 1984 to about 1994. And the official title of this is called the Gold Full Wild Turkey. Everybody who's ever wanted one of these calls it the cheesy Gold Full Wild Turkey. Now, when I went to Neat and tried to get it, they had already sold the bottles they had. And I kind of gave up on it then. I just told myself then it's probably not meant to be, because I had seen on a couple of people trying to sell them online, but you couldn't pull the trigger quick enough to get it. And so, so you open up the tube, and the tube was in really good shape. The only thing that I could say was I think my camera's picking it up a little bit. It was a little bit of the gold on the top had been scratched off, whatever. I believe my bottle's from 1991, if I read the code on the bottom of the right. Bottle of right. But, you pull it out, and what you've essentially got is Wild Turkey 12-year. And you can see it's got the gold full on it. And, it's got the sticker on the back. And then the crazy thing is, for this particular bottle, this bottle had been exported to Australia. And that's the sticker. That's the export sticker. The plastic on top's in really good shape. It's got the 3 turkeys on it. And then, as you can see, I do believe there's been a little bit of evaporation of the distillate in the bottle. But the crazy thing to me is, if this was bottled in 1991, then this was, you got to think they started distilling this in 1979. Is this the oldest wild turkey that I've got in this room? No. I found a decanter that was full of some stuff from 1974, which was Wild Turkey 101, 8-year. So that's a little older, and I have drank that. The question I'm getting asked right now is, when are you going to open it? And the answer I have is, I don't know. Honestly, do not know right now. I'm struggling with when I want to. It's not if I'm going to open this, it's just when I open it. I'm thinking probably maybe my 60th birthday. But I do know that, it's got to be a really good special occasion. And I had somebody tell me the other day, Chris, don't wait too long, because you don't want to be looking down and go, man, you should have went on and opened that one. But either way, yeah. Honey, thank you so much. I don't know where you got this. I have my suspicions. And when I asked her, well, do I even want to know what you paid for it? She says, we're not even going to talk about that. Just enjoy. So yeah, this is my most cherished bourbon I've got in this room. And so, yeah, great, great anniversary present. And then the crazy thing was, so we go to Crittenden's distillery. Now I'm not just, forewarn you now, I'm not pulling a second cheesy goal full Wild Turkey out. I'm I wouldn't be that lucky, but I got pretty darn lucky. We go to the Crittenden's distillery on Saturday, and then me and Teresa, we go have dinner with our good friends Marshall and Michelle in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. And after we get this really good dinner, we had went to this oyster house and had some seafood. We're getting ready to go to the hotel to spend the night, and as soon as we pulled out of the restaurant parking lot, I just happened to look over and go, holy crap, there's wine and liquor store. Let's go in there. And so, of course, Marshall whips it in there. And when we walked in the store, I was kind of like, this looks more like this is a wine store than anything. And I looked around, and it was kind of, the store was broken into two parts. And once I got into the other part, they had a, it looked like a cabinet that someone had hand built with like wood and chicken wire, and it had a hasp block on it. And as I'm looking at it, I'm seeing a couple of different bourbons in there, and I go, hey Marshall, there's a Wild Turkey Master's Keep Beacon in there. And so Marshall's wife has got in her mind that Michelle's pretty adamant about she's going to try to match my Master's Keep collection and try to get her own complete Master's Keep collection. And I'd found him a Triumph, took it to him, and I told him on the way there, I stopped at a store and I saw where the store had the Voyage the rum finish, but I knew that Marshall wanted a backup bottle of the Beacon. And so of course we're like, well, how much you want for it? And the guy quoted a price, and then later on he said, well, I can't sell it to you because somebody else is being held for somebody else. And I'm like, okay, then you should have took it out of the cabinet. That's what I was saying, but I didn't want to get into it with the kid because he looked like a younger kid, and he said the store manager was overseas, and he really couldn't. We didn't want to just sit there and argue with a poor kid. I mean, it is what it is. But as we're kind of looking through the store and looking at some other stuff, one of them just said, if you want to look around in there, you're more than welcome to. And then they were watching us, make sure we weren't doing anything crazy. And so I start moving bottles around in this cabinet, and my only assessment I can make now is I don't think they knew what they had in the cabinet. I think that some of that stuff had been in that cabinet so long they didn't even know what was in there. And one of the other things too, which I forgot to mention, when he looked up the price on the Voyage, he said he had something else that was Jimmy Russell, but he says it's coming up as 1,000, and I'm not 100% sure what it is. And I'm like, well, you need to find it, because my bell was kind of ringing then. I was thinking he was about to tell me he had a 2003 Russell's, which I was going to then try to negotiate lowering the price, because that was something I was really wanting. But anyway, as I kind of started digging around this cabinet, I saw something, and I went, oh crap. I can't believe that. And then right behind what I saw was another Master's Keep, which was the Decades, which was the second one released. And that one I've got a backup bottle of. So I told Marshall, I said, you need to grab this now. And he goes, is it that? I said, if you're trying to build a Master's Keep collection, this is going to be one of the harder ones to find. But now, what did I find? This is what I found, which is Wild Turkey Forgiven. I'm going to pull it out of the tube. A buddy of mine gave me a bottle of this for my retirement, and I've opened it, and I've drank probably a quarter of it already. It's really good, but it's one of them older things that, matter of fact, I grabbed the wrong one. I grabbed the one that I actually had been drinking out of, but that's all right. You can see where the cork and that one broke off, and then I replaced it with, I think it looks like a Russell's cork. But anyway, the one I found the other night sitting over there. So what is this? Forgiven. Forgiven is, the story behind this is, it's a boo rye. It's the first time that Wild Turkey did a boo rye. And the story goes that they had a vat of bourbon, and somebody made a mistake and poured a barrel of rye in it, and they're like, you destroy that whole barrel of bourbon. And after they tasted, I believe it was Eddie tasted it, And he said, you know what, you're forgiven. So anyway, yeah, I was pretty stoked to find this. And I got a buddy of mine, David. I call him the wild turkey godfather, because he's like, if I got a question about wild turkey, he can generally answer it. When I sent him a picture, he was like, holy, you know what, I've never seen one of those in the wild. And so, yeah, I mean, they're out there. You just, you got to get lucky and find them, which I did. And on any given day of the week, this right here is a find of finds. But once again, when you compare it to the, let me turn it so you can see it. When you compare it to the Cheesy Gold Full Wild Turkey, there's, you know, this is great. This is what I call the allocated unicorn bottle. This is what I call the unattainable unicorn bottle. So anyway, yeah. Very thankful to have these bottles, and I will enjoy them both. Other than that, I appreciate you watching this video. If you like what you see here, just you got some suggestions, by all means, please let me know. You know, I'll give a shout out to these guys real quick, Cask Envy. I was looking for someone to make me some Glencairns with my company logo on them, and I found these people on Etsy, and they made my glasses. And then later on, he said, hey, send me your address, or send me your shirt size. He already got your address. I want to make you a shirt. So if you're looking for some, you know, barware with like your family logo or something on them, they're the people to talk to. And yeah, so I'll see you at the next video.